Hi, welcome to the Q. My name is Gummi, and today we have Karla Rodriguez. Okay, so today's podcast is episode 13. Today's podcast is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be geared more towards people who are either graduating high school this year or are in their first year moving to a new city, like a larger city. And so, Karla, tell us a little bit about yourself and like where you graduated from and where you are right now.
Okay, so my name is Karla, obviously. I graduated from Martin, and I recently moved to UT Austin, where I'm studying to be a bilingual education teacher.
So Laredo, just to give you a little bit of history, Laredo in the 70s, when I was born, there was about 70,000 people, roughly, in that area. Now we've grown to over 250,000 people. But I find that Laredo still, for the most part, the mentality is still the same. Not that it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I find that a lot of towns, wherever you go to, there's a certain mentality, right? And again, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just the way it is, right? From living in Laredo for most of your life, up to high school, and then going to Austin, which is a city that's now in the vicinity of Austin. It's over 1 million people now. How do you find it different as far as mentality goes?
Mentality? People are more open, I would say. They're kind of more independent. They don't really depend on a lot of people like we do here. They kind of have their own dreams, whereas like no one really goes into like the family business or stuff like that.
Okay.
Everyone kind of makes their own path and everything. It's very independent, very independent.
So back then, when I went to Austin, it was the first time I ever saw people with funky hair in person. Because you see it on TV and stuff, but which again now it's not a big deal. It was the first time I ever saw a woman with armpit hair, with hair on her legs, like just being natural, right? And had that been here, she would have been bullied and made fun of, and again now it's normal.
Yeah.
Like Laredo has progressed to that point, right? What do you see different as far as that? Like, was there a culture shock when you went to Austin?
I feel like people are more expressive, like both like, how do you say it? Like the way they dress and then like opinion wise, like they will argue in class, like so like people can get their point of view,
Yeah.
And like here, like people just kind of like, oh, okay, that's what they think, like, okay, we're not gonna argue about it. But like there, like there's so much like arguing and like contradicting and stuff like that. Like they're like, no, like this is wrong because, and then like they give a full on explanation and you're just like, wow, like maybe they're right, but then this is like also right. So it's kind of like different points of view. I think that's one of the like big things that I noticed, because like in Laredo kind of, I mean, people do have different points of view, but it's kind of the same in Laredo. They don't really have like different opinions, but in Austin you get like each individual person's point of view because like it's encouraged. So I think that's one of the big things that it was kind of like shocking to me, that like everyone kind of had their own opinion and was able to like express it and like evidence it.
Yeah. So you have that advantage that you have mentalities from, or points of view rather, not necessarily mentalities, but points of view from people from around the world who have different experiences than what you have had, regardless of where you're from. But is there anything that's shocked you? Like, for example, like fashion or food or anything like that? Or has it something that you've already seen, like on TikTok or something, and
no,
you're used to it?
Okay, so going back to like the hair and stuff, like with girls, there was this one time in my class where we had to like get into groups. It was like based on the color of our shirt. And there was this girl that was sitting in front of me, and she like turns back and she raises up her hand, and it's like armpit hair. And I was like shocked. I was like, oh wow, like I mean, it didn't make me uncomfortable or anything. It's just like I've never seen that. In real life. I've seen like girls with hairy legs and stuff, but like never a girl like confident enough to show it off, you
like
know?
with a full on.
Yeah, full on.
Yeah.
Full on. And then there was this one guy in my other class. He was really tall and he had piercings like everywhere, tattoos everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like 25 in like a freshman class, which is really like crazy. But definitely like seeing people in like different backgrounds, like seeing grown men in like a dress, like that's really crazy to me. But yeah, that it's just like stuff that you don't normally see in Laredo. Like you just like it's all there.
Yeah.
You're just like whoa, like whoa.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not uncomfortable. It's actually really cool to see people, different types and kinds of people. You know, also like the homeless people are really crazy there too. There was this one time with this like lady we were walking past, and this lady just like took off her pants and just peed in the middle of like the road, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
We just walked away. No, but yeah, that's people are just very out there in Austin. Yeah, it's good or bad.
Well, that's why they have the "Keep Austin Weird" slogan, right?
Yes.
What has been the most challenging thing in your transition from high school here in Laredo to a major university?
Learning how to study. I feel like in high school, I never learned how to study. You know, I guess like they don't really teach you that, and I really think there should be a class for it. Because in college, there's a class for it, and I met the professor and everything, and she's really cool. Like she gave so many study tips, and it was right around like midterm season, and I used those study tips, and I got an 85 on my midterm, which is really good for college. So, I definitely think that learning how to study is a big thing that we should learn, especially in high school. Like there should be a class in high school because I think that's the one thing that kids struggle with the most. Like they don't know how to study. They don't know like what are the best tips in how to study. They don't know how to remember things, you know, and they stress themselves out so much that they don't end up sleeping like the whole night. Like I got my 7 hours of sleep every single night because I need sleep. You know, you have to prioritize sleep too.
Yeah.
But I think one of the big things that I wanted to learn and needed to learn was how to study.
Yeah. There's a senior right now in high school, probably learning how to study, probably wanting to go to a major university. How much more difficult would you say, and mind you, this is your first semester, right? So your classes are just going to get more difficult. But for now, how much more difficult would you say college is than high school?
I feel like it kind of depends on your major as well. And if you love what you're doing.
Yeah.
My classes, I learn about child development and how kids learn and how they're smarter than we actually think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really just like reflection. Like we have to reflect on like our, our childhood and how we learned how to play and what play is for us. And I feel like if you love what you're doing, you're going to pass the class. Like if you like pay attention and you love what you're learning and you like talk about it with other people, you will pass the class. But it's just more like putting in the work and knowing that you love what you're doing. If not, it's kind of like, nah, like I'll half-ass this, you know?
Yeah.
And it's not going to affect me because I don't care about it, you know? So I feel like one of the big things, like when passing a class, is you have to care about it. You know, like if you love the class, you're going to pass it. You're going to put in that effort. So I feel like when people say they don't know what they're going to do, just kind of have an idea of what you are interested in. Like even if it's like a hobby type of thing, like do it. Because if you go into college like not knowing what you're going to do and you just take classes just because, you're not going to pass them, and you know, you're not going to want to continue, you know. That's the reason you're going to probably drop out, you know, because it's not something you love. So I think definitely loving what you're doing is a big thing.
You're not out because you're taking classes that you actually like, right? You don't always have that luxury. For example, like math classes for me. I hate math. I still hate math. If I was gonna go get like another degree, and I had to take more math classes, I probably wouldn't get my other degree. That's how much I hate math. Like, you know, like university level math, right? But I know that if I want to get my degree, I have to take those classes regardless. It doesn't matter if I hate the teacher or the professor, or if I love the professor or the way he or she teaches.
Yeah.
I still have to pass it. And that's one of the things that the discipline is the thing that I had to learn. But what tips do you have for somebody who's going to go to, say, out of town? They're in the comfort of their own home here in high school. They don't have mommy and daddy or whoever their guardian is to look after them. They find themselves alone, maybe with one or two friends if they're lucky, or maybe not. Outside of Laredo, what are some of those challenges with that?
I feel like even if you do find friends and stuff, I think one of the biggest things that you have to learn, especially like me in Laredo and then going to another city, learn how to be independent, learn how to study by yourself, learn how to go out by yourself, learn how to do things by yourself, because you're not always going to have a group of people with you. And I feel like in college it's going to take a long time. It's not like your first semester you're going to have a group of people, but that's just because you're in a FIG group, or you were put in a study group or something, and those are the people that you're going to see every single day because of the classes you take or the group you're in. But you have to learn how to be independent, because you're not going to find your people the first semester of college, you know? So I feel like one of the big things that you have to learn is to be independent and how to do stuff on your own.
There's two ways this can go. One is you go, like what you're doing, and you are assimilating yourself to that college lifestyle, right? You're studying, because you have a purpose, you have a goal that you want to meet, so you're doing whatever you need to do to meet that goal. But sometimes you find yourself in a large city, you have financial aid, so you have some money in your pocket, your parents aren't around. Oh, I'm going to go party. And I'm going to skip school because, well, they don't take attendance, and I fell asleep. I stayed up till 5 a.m. I'm just going to skip class today. And all of a sudden you're like in academic probation, or you failed the class or whatever. Now financial aid is telling you, hey, we're not going to fund you anymore. And so that happens a lot. Like people go, and then like in a year, you see them back here, and they're going to a college here, or they're already working because they just decided that college isn't for them or whatever. What other tips do you have for somebody? So say it's like one of your sisters or one of your friends are going to UT or somewhere else. What else do you recommend that they do before they go?
Before they go, I feel like prepare yourself and have a reason. I mean, don't do it for other people. I feel like if you're gonna do something, do it for yourself. I feel like that's how you really succeed at something. I mean, of course, you could do it like partly, like for your mom or for your dad, like first generation, college student. I'm gonna do it for like my parents. Like that's good, but your career is like for you.
Yeah. Definitely.
And so I feel like know why you're going before you go, because I mean, if you're just going just to go, you're not gonna really want to do anything. It's kind of, you're just gonna feel like you have no purpose there. But when you know why you're going, you feel like you have a purpose there. You feel like you know what you're doing, and even if you don't have any friends, like you're like, no, like I know what I'm doing. Like I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like knowing why you're there is good.
And that's really good advice. Okay, Karla. So what we're gonna be doing is we're going to play a game. So I have 2 hot chocolates here that I'm gonna make right now, and then I'm gonna ask you one last question while I finish these hot chocolates. And what I wanted to ask you was about the school culture. In Laredo, we don't really have that level of school culture.
Yeah.
But what we do have is we have schools with a lot of school spirit, right?
Yeah.
But for example, you have the Big 12. You have football games and sporting events and concerts at the Moody Center and all that stuff. How has you've been to games, right?
Yeah.
So kind of describe what the culture is in a big university as opposed to what it is in high school.
Okay, well, here in Laredo we have like, the infamous Martin Nixon game, everyone, older people that graduated like 20 years ago or like 40 years ago, they come to the games, and there's that school spirit. But obviously the games are bigger in Austin.
Yeah.
The games are way bigger. and it's just like, I feel like it's just like high school but better. It's huge. It's athletes are like well known, like kind of like everywhere all throughout Texas.
Yeah.
There's like past cheerleaders, there's older people that graduated, like they have their kids with them. It's so much bigger, and like, everything's just bigger, and it's just crazy cool to see. Like, I feel like it's like high school all over again. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like so cool and bigger, and there's like fireworks, and it's like way more traditions too.
Yeah.
Like the Bevo with like the third down, like we have them at third down, like, and then the Bevo comes out, and then we like our mascot Bevo, and we have like the Texas fight song and stuff like that, and it's just really cool, like every learning about the different traditions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I just recently went to my first basketball game, and that one was really good. I've never been to an actual basketball game, so that was really cool. That was really, really cool. And again, like the school spirit just makes it so much better. Everyone's just yelling, everyone's doing the chants, everyone's shitting on the other team. It's just really cool. I really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember going to the football games, and you could just feel the energy of like everything there.
Yeah.
Like it was win or lose. I remember playing against Texas Tech, and the tortillas came out, and the keys came out, and everything, and it was just crazy. Okay, and what we're gonna do is I'm gonna ask you. We have the Mexican wedding cakes that you baked, and you're gonna eat the cookies. You're gonna eat some cookies.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna ask you some questions, and I want you to eat the cookies while I ask you the question, and then see if you know the answer to these questions. And they are questions that are based on the University of Texas.
Okay. So I'm just going to eat them right now.
Okay, so this one? With that one in your phone? Okay. So, figures. So, okay, so the first question, you're full there? Okay. In the University of Texas at Austin, what is the name of the largest student housing complex?
Okay. Gesture.
The gesture, yes. This is the gesture. So when I went to UT, they told me that it once had its own zip code. So I went from 95 to 97, gesture east and west, up until like 1986 or somewhere in the 80s. It had its own zip code, and then they got rid of it, and they just the UT has its own zip code. But that's pretty interesting. That's how big gesture was. I think it holds like over 3,000 students, which is crazy. Are you already done with the first one?
Okay.
If it doesn't taste good, Bella made it. Are you okay? You're gonna die.
I'm gonna die on this show.
Okay, second question. You have your second cookie there. Okay, so finish the lyric here. Should be pretty easy here. The eyes of Texas are upon you.
Is it on the something?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't know it.
You don't know it?
Mm-mm.
You're such a fake.
It's my first semester.
It's the eyes of Texas are upon you all the live long day.
I knew it was something, Dave.
Third question. I'll let you digest that second cookie. This one is super easy because you've actually already said it. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
What is the name of the UT mascot?
Hook'em. Bevo!
Hook'em what? Bevo, yes, Bevo.
Hook'em is also a mascot.
One of the stories around it was that they played A&M one year. I think it was A&M, and they had beaten UT 13-0, and they branded Bevo the 13-0 on that, like they made a brand 13-0 and they branded Bevo. At the time he wasn't named Bevo, right? But what they did was, in order to hide the 13-0, they made it a B, an E, they inserted a V and then the O, and then it was Bevo. Cool story. Not true.
Not true. That's crazy.
That was a story that I heard, and I was like, that's pretty cool. But then when I researched it, it wasn't true. Unfortunately. What, when it comes to UT, what is the six-pack?
The original 6 buildings.
Yes, the original 6 buildings from the University of Texas. That's where I had my classes, because they're all English classes.
Because he's old.
I was there when they were bullying them. This last question is also pretty easy.
Okay.
So one of the things you first find out is the pronunciation of certain things. So when you go to UT, there's a street that borders UT. It's a Spanish name. How do you pronounce that name in Austin?
Guad. It's Guad, right?
But so when it's Guadalupe.
It's Guadalupe Street, but they call it Guad.
Guad or Guadalupe.
Guadalupe.
They used to say Guadalupe when I was there. Yeah, crazy. Okay, so that is the game. You win nothing.
Oh.
You get to eat your own cookies.
Yeah.
And you got a hot chocolate.
Yeah.
So yes, the transition to going from high school to college, regardless of the college, requires discipline. Some more than others, right? Some people are just, they're used to the studying and it's just something, or maybe they're just naturally, they absorb the information just more naturally. And so it doesn't require for them to study as much, right? But you said some good tips, and I would agree with all of them. Rare that I'm agreeing with you at all. But yeah, do you have any last words before we say goodbye?
Okay, I think one of the things I forgot is to keep an open mind. Try everything. Try everything. Definitely, keep an open mind. Especially with the people you meet and the stuff you try. Even if on Speedway, you get a lot of people coming up to you and asking you to join their club. If it's even the tiniest bit interesting, do it. Do it because you never know. You might find your group of people there. But yeah, that's definitely one of my bigger things, is to keep an open mind about the people you meet and the things you do, because you want to experience the full college experience. So yeah,
that's probably the best advice, is just to keep an open mind, because I think you get to learn way more about people, and more importantly, as you learn more about people, you learn more about yourself as well. And I think that's one of the things you've experienced is where I think it motivates you
Yeah.
to want to become the person you want to become, right? And not only just in your career, but like the type of person you want to be as well. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you, Karla, for giving us your experience and for playing along for the UT questionnaire. For if you want to find the Q podcast anywhere on social media, it is the QLTX, THECUELTX. You can find us on TikTok, Facebook, YouTube. Buzzsprout is where we have the audio version of our podcast, which is also on Spotify and so forth, and on Instagram as well. So that is the QLTX. We want to thank the subscribers who have, as I mentioned in last week's show, we average about 400 views per episode. But so again, thank you, Karla, and Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, since this is the last show of the 2023.
Wow. Thank you.
Okay. That's it.